Hi, my name is Judy Kessinger. I'm the creator and owner of the Fit Nice system. I designed this system to make your sewing easy. It doesn't matter what size you are. You want the garment to fit. You can be very tiny, you can be very large, but we want the garment to fit and we want the garment to be comfortable. So that's the reason I designed this. We're going to start today with the Master Top pattern. And the Master Top pattern is a big pattern. You don't have to piece anything together. When you open this up, it's a full-size pattern with a full-size sleeve. And there is a DVD in there that talks you through exactly how to make your master. Now, the reason you make a master is because you're never going to cut the master up. You're going to do all the variations off of the master pattern. So the master pattern will be made out of knit. You're going to fit it. You know, you may have cut it too big, but you're going to fit it to make sure you're comfortable in it. Once you're comfortable, you're going to alter the pattern to match the garment that you just made. That becomes your master, and the rest of these garments are made off of it. So I designed 5 different variations, and when you buy these variations, you're going to have over 100 different garments that you can make off of that knit top pattern. Now, let me tell you that you can take this into woven. You're not locked into knit. I hear a lot of comments, oh, Judy just designs for knits. No, I don't. I have a lot of woven garments in here, and it's a very simple process to take this from knit into woven. All the directions are there. So we're going to use variation 4 today, and I'm going to show you how to draw a bias line. Very, very simple on your pattern. I suggest every time you make a different variation, you make a new pattern. Now let's go back and let me review this. This is your master knit pattern. You can see that it has a back. Flip this down and that becomes your front. You are never going to cut this up. You are going to copy this pattern and make different styles. Right on there, master pattern. You can even write a note to yourself. Don't cut it up because you want to use this over and over and over again. You also have a master sleeve. Now, I don't make a different sleeve to go with every garment because if I'm making a knit garment, I'll just use this sleeve. So today what I'm going to show you how to do is to make a bias and go back to the videos and make sure that you watch all the other videos, and there is a video on how to make a dolman sleeve. That's what I have on. So there really is no set into it. It's a dolman sleeve. So let's get started. What do you need to make the bias top? Variations 5 has the bias instructions on there on how to do this. I'm going to show you how to draw it in a second. You need pattern-ease. I sell pattern-ease on my website. I love this product. It's 45 inches wide and you can see through it so you can see where you're going. You need a marker. I don't know how anybody draws anything without a marker. You need Scotch tape and you need a yardstick. So very, very simple to do. Now you also need a good pair of scissors. I love Kai scissors. So these are my favorites. So you need a good pair of scissors. So let me move this out of our way because we don't need it. Now let me tell you, the other thing you need is fabric. I was always told as a big girls don't wear stripes. Why? I wear stripes. You can wear any kind of stripe you want to wear. It's your body. I love stripes because stripes give you interest. I don't necessarily like stripes going across my body. I also don't like stripes going up and down because it almost looks like you're in jail. But I love to bias a stripe. And that's what I have on. That's what the dress form has on, and you can see it a little bit better in the dress form that I have. So let me show you a little trick to make a bias pattern. I have redone the front of my pattern, so I have copied the front of my pattern, and I have a straight grain. The center of the pattern is the straight grain. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure about 4 inches away from the straight grain. And I'm going to draw a line that is 8 inches long. Okay? So I have a line that is 8 inches long. Mark the center of that line. because now I'm going to draw another line that is 8 inches wide, like this. So we have a parallel line to the center, and we have a perpendicular line to the center, okay? Now this is how hard this is. I'm going to draw a bias. So I'm going to cross it, and I like to go the whole length of my pattern, just like that, all right? Now that makes the bias go up, and that's exactly what you're seeing right here. The bias goes up. So let's just say you want to make the bias go down, like what I have on. Watch, this is really hard. You draw another line this way. Now, I like to draw 2 different colors, so I would suggest you get 2 different markers to mark your second line, so that way you're not going to be confused. So when you lay this pattern on top of your fabric, this line is going to be on the stripe. Can you see that? So when you lay your striped fabric on the table, the bias line is on the stripe. That's going to create your bias look. It's as simple as that. Now, if you're going to do something like I have the shirt on and the shirt that's on the dress form, you need a seam allowance in the center. So what I'm going to do is to cut a little strip of this fabric. And then I want to show you a little trick with a glue stick, because I love glue sticks. So I'm going to take this, lay it on top, Scotch tape it in place. I go through tons and tons of Scotch tape. I bet you figured that out, didn't you? Because everything I do, I Scotch tape it. And then what you want to do is you want to mark a line, draw a line, a 1/2 inch away from that center front. Like this. Because it's a 1/2 inch seam. Connect that. Cut on that line. Now you could use this in the back if you wanted to. You can use a bias front and back if you want to. And we are ready to cut this out of fabric. There's the front of your bias shirt. Now, I really do suggest that you watch the video on the dome, how to make a dolman sleeve, because it's easier to do a dolman sleeve on a bias than it is to set in a sleeve. Your eye is not taken away from the bias itself. If you actually wanted to set in a sleeve, you might want to consider doing a solid color sleeve. But I kind of like the dolman sleeve. It's what I have on this garment as well. I laid this shirt down to show you the back of it. The back of it was straight. It was not biased. So I'm going to lay this pattern on top so that you can see how you're going to lay this out. Do you see that I have marked a green line for the bias that goes down? So the black line is the bias goes up. The other one is the bias goes down. That's totally up to you as to which way you want to do it. I suggest you make one of each and see how you like it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose the green line because I think you can see it a little bit better. And you can see that when I lay this on the fabric, on the green line, can you see the bias? Can you see the bias come out of that? So it really makes a pretty garment. Now let me show you another little trick when you sew this garment together. You really need to make sure that this bias line stays straight. And I'm going to bet most of you like to pin. I don't do a lot of pinning. And if you've ever been in my classes, which I hope you'll come to one, if you've ever been in my classes, you know that I try to take your pins away from you. Pinning takes time to put the pins in, time to take the pins out and then more time to pick them up off the floor because you dropped them. So I'm going to show you an easy way to do it. This is called a basting glue stick. Please watch the video on the glue stick because there's lots of other things you can do with this glue stick. But it's great when you have to match a seam. So if you have to match a stripe, or you have to match a plaid, or you have to match a bias, it's easier to glue the seam together. So I'm going to turn this garment inside out so that you can see this. There's my seam, and it's my 1/2 inch seam, and it's still glued together. All right, so let me pull it apart and show you. You just take the glue stick, run it down the seam allowance, put the two together, go to the right side of the garment and make sure that the bias are perfectly even. If they're not, pull it apart a little and adjust it until you have a nice line. If you're going to be so bold as to wear a color like this, or the one I have on with all my glitter, you need to make sure they match. Because the first thing people are going to see is if they don't match. You notice that when you buy a garment and it doesn't match. So let's make these match. Let's glue them together and sew this garment the easy way. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you've seen how simple and easy this system is to work with. All of the products you've seen in the video are available on my website or a link on my website. Please make sure while you're there to check out the classes to see where I am. Join me on Facebook under Fit Nice, and be sure to join the Fit Club. Thank you.